So, how is that digger doing? Has he found it yet? Yeah, I still need to finish that animation right here. So that's just one that I made like a long time ago, but I haven't actually finished it yet. So yeah. Right, so I actually posted a comment at the end of one of my videos and that said, oh, does anyone want to know how I actually made this animation? And I got a couple of really nice comments saying, yeah, we want to know. So I thought, okay then, you win. I'll make a documentary video on how I actually made it. So there's a lot of talking going on, so you probably will need some popcorn, so yeah, or some snacks or something. So we'll get back into it, so yeah. Okay, now that I'm into my PC, let's actually have a look at how to record your sounds. It's a very good idea to record your sounds and voice clips and stuff first before you import them into Flash. So yeah, we'll go into that. Now, a lot of people may already know this, but you can use something called Audacity. It's a free program. You can just Google it and just download it. I'm surprised it's not even timed or anything, but this is how I record my sounds, and this is probably how most other people record it. You can use your mobile phone to record your voice clips or sound effects and then import them into your PC. So let's just give this a try. So it's like, hello, thank you for coming today. Now it's probably gonna sound really quiet. Like, hello, thank you for coming today. Right, so that's how you record your sounds. There are a lot of ways to play around with it and slide it around and stuff by using that and go like that and stuff. You can press Ctrl Z to undo that. Yeah, you can record like lots of different segments. So it's a good idea if you've got a paragraph of sentences to record it in little segments and then put it together, because once I recorded a whole paragraph and I like messed up on like this one line and I had to cut out what I needed to cut out what I tripped up on and then had to start that part again. But the problem is that if you actually do it that way, it might suddenly clip. So if you have like two sound clips and you take the middle chunk out and you move it onto here, so if you had like lots of different clips, it might just go, hello, thank you, oh, hello there, and it's like suddenly, you know. So yeah, that's one thing you have to mind out for. So definitely doing sentences, have a small gap, then say the next sentence, have a small gap, because then you don't just suddenly clip in out of nowhere. So you don't have sentences that suddenly cut out halfway and stuff. So yeah, oh, also you can export it even and just put it as an MP3 or something. So yeah. Oh, for some reason, whenever I try to import MP3s into Flash, sometimes it comes up with an error. So it's like when I go like this and say import to library and then import in an MP3, sometimes it comes up with an error, but after about half an hour of research, I found out that there's a way to fix it with another free program. It's called VLC. So what you do is you go in here and you say convert and save. It's best to do it one at a time, just so you can actually get it to work properly. And then you find one that you want to make as a pure MP3. I don't know why you have to make an MP3 then convert it into another MP3. It's just the way it is. So you do that, and then you go here, and then you pick, oh, it's already highlighted, and then you select your destination file. Definitely don't overwrite the other one, the original version, because once I did that and it made the megabytes 0 and it wouldn't play the file. So what you're supposed to do is just call it something different, like back up. But we'll just cancel that because I don't need to do it this way. I'm just doing it for testing purposes. So, and then what happens is that you can actually import it in this way around. So that's how I actually managed to get all of these ones from one of my favorite people. So that's how I actually managed to get all of these sound clips in. So sometimes it lets you import it no problem, sometimes I have to use VLC. I'm not sure why I have to use VLC to be able to get it to work properly in Flash, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's just one thing you have to mind out for. So it might not happen to everyone, it happens to me about 75% of the time. Once I did, well, a couple of times, I did manage to import them in without having to have to convert them into fresh MP3 files. Apparently it has to do with making it 8-bit or 16-bit sounds, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's one thing you have to mind out for. Okay, now we're going to go into the drawing segment, which is probably the biggest part of the video. This is probably going to be more than 5 minutes long, but the first thing we'll talk about is the lip syncing part. So you're going to need a lot of layers just in general. As you can see, there's a lot of them. So that's why I had to sort them out into folders as well. Definitely have a label in, because you're trying to figure out which part is which, it's going to take a lot longer. So as you can see, the character says all these different words, and then there's the sound effects and stuff. So we'll start about, well, let's go from frame 1. You press Control plus to zoom in. You can zoom into 2000%, so you can just go up here, and this is where about 5 or 6 hours of work went into. So I usually lock all my layers just in case so they don't interfere with each other. So we'll just move this around just a little bit. Right, there you go. Where's the mouth part? Yeah, it's right here. So as you can see, that whole segment here to here is her with her mouth closed. So you can press the full stop button to scroll forwards, and you can press the comma to go backwards. So as you play it like that, you can see that I make different mouth poses. Now this is where it starts taking a very long time, because if you scroll up here, that's the let's go part. So if you just go like this,
let's go, take that, Wind Blade.
So that's how it goes. So, oh, another thing I forgot to mention is that this whole animation is 30 frames a second. In some of my animations, it's 24 frames. Now, there's a good point and a bad point. As you can tell, 30 frames means that everyone is talking at 30 frames and stuff. But that basically means for every second you've got 30 small boxes instead of 24. So you can see there's about roughly about 15 frames, but there's a lot more here as well. So it just means more work if you're trying to do it at 30 frames, but the great news is that you have smoother animation. Oh, and to be able to import these in, you, like I said earlier, you just import them in, and then you do it that way, and then you find the file. It's best to put all of them in a folder here. So it might get a little bit confusing because of all the folders, but just to keep it simple, there's a timeline where it's like got all the background and all the different parts of the images that you put together, and then there's like the sound effects and the text and all the different animation graphics that you make. So yeah. Oh, another thing is definitely a good idea to keep everything empty for the first like 25 odd frames, because if you start an animation from like here, it's gonna, you don't just jump into the scene, you should give like nearly a whole second so everyone can see what it looks like before you start. So we'll start it from here. It's like,
let's go,
It's like that. So because if I put that there, you'd be like, oh, whoa, the animation's already starting. So yeah, so definitely make sure you got a few frames free here where the characters are standing still. So I've got all these different poses, so I had to come through about 10 of them. That pose there is for the when you say certain letters and stuff, so it's kind of like the word it's or s. So that's for the letter S or the letter T. So that one and that one's for like say yeah and stuff like that. So the thing is though is that mouth poses are going to be different because if characters are frowning, you're going to be saying certain words differently as well. So yeah, that's for the O, for the let's go part. Now, you're probably going to notice, oh well, having the character's mouth closed is actually the easiest frames it is. So, we'll talk about the eye blinking part in a little bit. I think there was something else I need to talk about mouth poses. There is another way you can do it, by converting it into a symbol, but I prefer doing it this way so that you can see the boxes rather than double clicking inside of it. But that's how I much prefer doing lip syncing. Right, so now the next part we'll talk about is the eye blinking. So yeah, now where's the eyes? Now there's going to be quite a fair bit of drawing, and yes, I had to convert that into a symbol as you can see here. So if you play it, you can actually play it here. It's about 70 frames long. So yeah, if you just double click on here, at first you will only have one frame, but you can just add another one by pressing F5. But I'll just undo that. You can press F5 as many times as you need to add more and more frames. But if you press F6, you split them. If you press F7, you make like a blank frame. It's probably best to make it F7 here, so that when you make your frames, you could just do this and just copy it and then paste it in here, and then you just change the eyes a little bit, and that's how you do it. So let me just undo all that. So yeah, now as you can tell, it took quite a while. It's probably best to have a little guide thing so that you can actually keep track of where's where, so you can keep it in line. But because this side of it is closer towards the screen than this side, that's why these two eyes are not in line, and she's looking slightly diagonal anyway, so that's why. Yeah, the thing with eye blinking is that she looks really evil. She looks really evil that frame or that frame, but because it's so quick, if you go like that. So yeah, this segment took me about 4 hours because the first frame took the longest. Especially since she's not symmetrical, so I couldn't just copy and paste it and then just invert it like that because it wouldn't look right. So I had to draw two separate eyes and eyebrows, so I can actually make it look correct. So, another thing is, the great news is that once you've done one side, you just copy and paste them and reflect them like there and there and there and there and there and there and so on. So that's how you can do it as well. So that's how you do it. It's a good idea to keep a label for this one as well. So yeah, that's how I made the eyes anyway. Oh yeah, that's another thing. To be able to even make one, we'll just make a quick one here. You just go here, press V to go to select, double click it, right click, and then you just convert the symbol. And you select graphic, so you can actually animate the eyes, and then after you press OK, it puts it in here. Just make sure you put it in the right folder. So yeah, so we'll just delete that off. So yeah, that's how I did the eye segment. So yeah, right, okay, the next part I'll talk about is her front hair. Now the hair is in two layers, not segments, two layers, because there's that part which goes in front of her clothing, and then there's the back hair, just like that one there, and it's like that bit. I put both of those in graphics as well, but at the same time I'm meant to be static as well, because when you go there, it's where it's not graphic for this segment, but when you go into about here, that part's a graphic because it actually scrolls through. So that's why. So it's best to do it that way to make it static and stuff. Yeah, so for this segment, it's best to make that part be static and then make that part play the graphic animation, and that's same with up here as well. So that's why I put labels on. It's so important. It saves my life so much so I don't get parts mixed up. So you double click on here, and then you've got all this, and it's across 16 frames. I was going to make a few more frames, but I didn't think I needed to that much. Oh, sorry for the burp. But yeah. Now this part takes a very long time, as you can tell, because what I had to do was make a new frame. We'll just pretend this is a new frame. So press, we'll say F6, and then I had to get rid of that part, and then I had to rechange it by going like that and stuff. Whoops, hang on a minute. Now you're going to see a little bit of drawing off me today. And then you go like that. Oops, I'm not even doing it right now. Go like that, and then you press the I tool and just do it like that. Ah, now it's not working, I know why. It's not been joined properly. But you get the picture. That's how you make a new frame. And you do the same by moving this one a little bit, move that part a little bit, move this bit a little bit, move that a little bit, move all that a little bit each, as you can tell. It's like that. So that's how you do it. That's how you do that part. And you do a similar thing. Oops. No, don't bring that up. I'm not programming. It's been such a long time since I made a game. So anyway, that's how you do it. That's how you do this segment. It's just that it takes a very long time. This segment took me about 5 hours, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, you do it for that one, and then you do the same for that one as well. I didn't have to draw all the segment here, but I felt like I needed to, because in fact, this part took me longer because I had to move it around a lot more. So as you can see, it goes like that. So that's how I did this segment, and the skirt had to be a similar thing as well. So don't worry, it's totally safe for work by file. It just goes like this anyway. So it's like totally safe for work. You can't even see anything. So that's how I did it. This part didn't take so long actually. It took me about 3 hours. The reason why I've got two that's the same is because it's being reflected. Because that part is the same as that, so that's why it was slightly faster making the middle section. In fact, that's the same with the others as well. So that's how I made another graphic. So yeah. The next part we'll talk about is her arm. Now that part animates quite different. It's actually using static poses. So let me find it here. Now this part is actually using all these different boxes. So I made the first part be like every 2 frames. And in fact, I did the same with that bit as well. I did the same with that bit because the bows is actually referring to that one. So that's why I had to make that be a separate layer, because it animates a little bit. So that's how I made her arms. Oh yeah, that's another thing. When I got to the part where I noticed, oh, let's actually make her actually attack a bit faster. So I did it at 1 frame so you can actually see the animation a little bit faster for going like that. Because if you go like that, it's a lot more smoother if you go like this. Then if you go like this, yeah, it doesn't see, it's like jerking a little bit. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's how I actually did that part. Oh yeah, one other thing about animating her arm was I had to split the sword into 3 little segments. In English, I made up a sword for her called Windmill Sword, but in Japanese it's Kazeguru Maken. So yeah, yeah, Kazeguru Maken. So as you can see here, there was quite a lot of drawing I had to do there, especially across the different frames here. That part is probably the most detailed part. And then there's the sharp, pointy part of her sword, and then there was the part from behind so that it wouldn't interfere with the other segments as well. So yeah, that's another thing you have to mind out for. You have to make sure that the layers are actually right, because the moment you put the layers in the wrong order, let's say that. Anyway, that one didn't even make any difference. Okay, we'll try it again. There you go. That's what happens when you put the layers in the wrong order. But it's a pretty simple fix. You just go like that and that's it. That's why layers are so important. That's why I've got so many layers here. But yeah. So yeah, that's what you have to mind out for. And also that one had to be its own layer as well. For the next part, we will talk about the log and the wind blade and stuff. So where is it? There it is. Right, this one took a little while because it's like magic effect, and I totally needed this to be a graphic anyway, because it had to change shape quite a lot. Hang on. Oh, there it is. This one's actually divided into 2, because there's that one and there's that one. So this one's pretty simple. You just go like that, and then you just what's it called? Not explode. You enlarge it. That's the word. Wow, I need to increase my vocabulary. So that one's pretty simple. You just go like that. You just enlarge it like this, and then you press Q, and then you just move it like that. Make it bigger and bigger on each frame. Now you could arguably say, oh, why don't you just make it into a motion tween like that? But the problem is that it changes shape as you get closer and closer, especially on the other one. I'll show you the other one. So when you go here, it's where it goes like this. And then this part took me a little while because there's 3 joining together, and then it's like an explosion like that. So yeah. Now I have to show it like this because you see it too quick in the actual animation. So as you can see, there's a lot of drawing I had to do for this part, even though it's just 1 attack. But yeah. The next one I'll talk about is the blossom petals. That one took me a little while. I was going to originally put more blossom petals in, but it would have took too much attention away from everything else that's going on. Where's the blossom? There it is. So yeah, let's go in here. So it starts off there. I had to rotate every single one of them just to make sure I actually was animating properly. I did see some online, but they tend to be like 3D ones. So I thought, oh wow. Yeah, I had to have it on 2 layers at one point because they kept going behind each other and stuff. I didn't want to lose some of the work because watch what happens. Watch what happens if this goes here, right? As soon as I click away and I try to move it again, I lose some of the part of one of the other blossoms. So the way to fix that is to make it into if you put it in a different layer. So if you move that, press Ctrl X, put it here, and then you put it behind there. There you go. Now it won't actually cut into each other and start losing work and stuff. That's why I needed all those layers. So that's a really good way of actually keeping track of what's where. And it's a very good idea to name your layers. I don't always name my layer, especially if it's a very simple one. So EX is short for extra. So yeah, the blossom petals did take a little while. I think it took me about 6-7 hours. So yeah, so as you can see, there's a lot of them. But it stops about here since they go off screen, so there's not really any point actually animating them off screen when you're done to see them off screen. So yeah, there's that as well. And then there's the log. The log took me a long while since I had to change the shape of it a lot. So there's like that part. So I had to put it in different layers for this one because they kept going. They kept going behind each other. So that part is just that one. That part is like all these ones. And that one is that one. And that one's just the rest of it. This took me about 10 hours. I kid you not. Of course, the character took a lot longer since there was lots of different parts of it I had to animate. So yeah, that's how I actually made that. And then there's the background itself, which didn't take that long, but since it's just a static pose, it took me about 3 hours, especially the top half, because of all that detail there. But that part took me about I think about half an hour. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I actually made any background actually. So yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, that's another thing with the sounds. When you go in here, go into properties, make sure it's streamed. I don't know why, but sets it to event. Don't let it be event because it plays it from start to finish. Even if you click there and you press play, it plays it on the wrong frame. It's where if you go like that and then press return, which means play the animation, you know, the return key on the keyboard. Yeah, it plays it all wrong. Definitely put every single one of them to stream. It's so much easier. And otherwise I'll regret it later, like I already did a few times. It's only a simple click and it's actually fine after that. I think that's everything besides the reference thing I used, which I've already referenced in one of my other videos anyway. So I think that's everything. Yeah, it's okay to use references, you know, official references, as long as you change it to your own, but that's all there is to it. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's a good idea to make different scenes. So you can either click up here, or you can go in here and then go to other panels and then say scene, and then you got 3 of them. So when you click there, you just make what you want here, and you get, that's the main thing, which is the longest part of the video which I made, and there's that part, and you just make a simple motion tween to get that to scroll up. It's really simple, it's not that hard. You just say, okay, I want to make this into a graphic, and then just get it to slide up. It's pretty simple. So yeah, it's definitely a good idea to make an intro so you don't make people see an animator that starts right off the bat and then people miss half of what's going on. So yeah, I think that's everything. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I don't know why, but whenever I export it, the whole thing into, well, or rather publish it into an SWF, it doesn't let me upload it onto YouTube. So what I do is I record it using OBS, which is here, which is what I'm using. That's another free program I use. There's a lot of free programs. And then there's Movie Studio, which I use to edit out what I don't need and stuff, and edit in like images, overlays and stuff, and that's how I do it. So, but not OBS. Movie Studio, I did have to buy that, but it's like half price back when I actually bought it. So yeah. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to actually show your support, you may tick like, share, or subscribe to my channel. You can even do all three of them if you want to. So yeah, and with that, I'll end off the video. So thanks you for watching.